So I purchased a property without ever stepping foot inside, and then I bought another. In this video, I'm going to show you how you too can become a remote real estate investor. Technology has enabled us now to be able to purchase and own property without ever living in that zip code. You can automate the entire home buying process and find property managers to outsource to so that you too can become a remote real estate investor. Quick disclaimer, I'm not sponsored or affiliated with Roofstock in any way, shape, or form. I'm not receiving any kickbacks for creating this video. I found tremendous success in utilizing this platform to expand my real estate investing portfolio, and I want to share this with you. I find tremendous joy in sharing financial education and resources with others, so I hope by making this video, I can also help you to achieve financial independence. So without further ado, let's dive into how to set up your Roofstock account, how to set up filters to analyze properties, how to submit offers on Roofstock, and then I'll show you two of the properties that I've purchased through the Roofstock platform. All right, the first thing you're going to want to do is go to roofstock.com, enter it in the browser, and it'll load you on the website. So as you can see, the interface looks like this. You're going to see a Hello Andrew My Roofstock because I currently already have an account. But if you don't already, set up an account through Roofstock. You then want to go to the Buy section and click Properties. Once you get to these properties, this is where you're going to see the list of all the different properties you can do on Roofstock. Now what I do, and I highly encourage, is set up a variety of filters. So for you, let's say you want to find a list price maybe somewhere between $25,000 and $235,000. For your down payment, let's say you're willing to put up to about $70,000 for your down payment itself. So you're going to apply. Then for the neighborhood, highly encourage you to do your own due diligence on the neighborhood itself because the Roofstock platform has a 1 to 5 scale, but I also like to double check online. But for me, I typically only like to look at things that are about a 3-star or above. We're going to apply. And let's say you have specific markets that you're looking at. For me, I typically like properties in Alabama, Florida, and Georgia. So we're going to select those on this filter. And then there's an option for more here. So for me, I like looking at a minimum of a 2-bed and a 2-bath. Occupancy, for me, doesn't matter. Minimum year built, I typically like newer properties. So for this, I'm going to do 1980 and above. And now you can set up different financial metrics as well. So if you want a certain gross yield, a certain cap rate, certain annual appreciation, a specific monthly rent, annualized returns, you can set that up here as well to make a very detailed filter. For this, I'm going to keep it broad and we're going to apply. Now at this point, you can save this filter so that in the future, when you log onto the Roofstock platform, you can then go to this filter and we're going to say save filter, YouTube example, and it asks you what kind of notification you want. So if any new property pops up in this specific filter, it'll immediately send you an email notification, do it daily, weekly, or not at all. In this case, I want immediate because I want to know exactly when a property that meets my criteria enters the Roofstock platform. So now that we have this new filter, we can then start going through and analyzing the different properties. For these, I typically like to look at cap rates above 6%. So these don't pique my interest yet, except for this property here. We're looking at a 6.2 cap rate. It's occupied, built in 1982 in Huntsville, Alabama, which is near the south. Pretty good area. This district has a lot of federal employees, so I'm going to look at this property. So at this point, it's for sale and it's exclusive, which means it's only on the Roofstock platform. Now, a lot of the properties that they will put on Roofstock will also be in other MLS listing websites. You can see a few photos here. They have an inspection report, which is incredibly helpful because you can look through the inspection report to see details about this property. As you can see, you can put a down payment for investment loans that's typically 25%. The rent is already at $1,500 and it's already occupied. That lease started on August 1st, 2022, so just recently, and it ends July 31st, 2023. So as you can see, this is set up already pretty well. Now, the school district is a 1-star, so that's pretty bad. So I'd want to do a little bit more digging on that. Right now, it's a net cash flow of $994 per year. And it also lists a bunch of different aspects about the property that may not be included in the inspection report or appraisal. So it's certified property, so Roofstock has already certified it. All appliances are staying in the property except for the washer and dryer, so that's good to know in case you have to buy it in the future. We're looking through this. Many people moving to Huntsville. Okay, I'll do my own research on that. Tile throughout, granite countertops, new fridge, metal roof. That's good. HVAC in the last 3 years. That's great. So that won't be replaced anytime soon. Private, spacious, fenced yard. I liked it. Okay, so far I really like what I'm seeing. Since it has the inspection report, I highly encourage you to kind of filter through this. As you can see, here's the property name. Inspectify conducted the inspection report. Has contact information just in case you want to contact them yourselves. So there's 0 safety issues. That's good. 8 repair issues, 2 exterior wall, 2 in the garage, 1 bathroom, 3 bedrooms. Okay. Monitor, 1 cooling. Ooh, okay. Let's see what that looks like later. So as you get into these detailed inspection reports, 77 pages, it also is a great opportunity to actually get high fidelity photos of the property in its as-is condition. So as you can see, this roof with the metal roof is a little concerning to me. That looks like something that may be a problem in the future. Apparently everything's good with the vents. Surroundings, seems okay. Cracks in the driveway, yeah, that's typical. Not too surprised there. Here's some vegetation, so that is a little concerning that there's vegetation going on the roof there. Here's a crack, okay. Yeah, the side of the property looks a little rough here, frankly. That window seal doesn't look too good. So even though it's not specifically flagged in the inspection report, to me, as an individual, this looks a little concerning. And as you can see, we can just keep peeling through this report. Let's see what other receptacle not working. Okay, so it's just some sort of electrical issue. These are typically quick and easy fixes. The garage, let's see what it is. Moisture damage. That to me is a big red flag because moisture damage could be specifically from moisture or it could be from water. Sometimes you have mold problems. So as a remote real estate investor trying to buy a low maintenance property with a low turnover, this is not really one that I want to be looking for. So as you can see, there's also other inspection reports. So let's say they could do an inspection report, make a series of repairs, and then do another inspection. There's a title report to prove that in fact they own it. There's a ledger which shows exactly the rents with the current tenant. As you can see here, here's the monthly rent and fees. They made their payment, they made their security deposit. They just installed this lease though, so I'm not surprised that they made their first payment. And here's also a second ledger, which is really just the same thing. So for me, in my personal opinion, as a remote real estate investor trying to buy low maintenance properties, I would not want to pick this property off the bat. However, you have to make that decision for you. But let's say, theoretically, you like this cap rate of 6.2%, you're happy with the gross yield, you're happy with the expected appreciation, which I'd be a little more conservative than they are. Then you want to look at the financials, right? And this is where it really breaks down all the different financials for this property. So it had a purchase price of $199,000, down payment of 25%. Okay, loan interest, yeah, let's put it at 6% to be very conservative. Closing costs 1.5%, that's good. Immediate closing costs, this is to cover all the repairs that are in that inspection report. And Roofstock does a great job at giving you a cash flow. So right now, we are currently cash flow positive with the current rent that we have. We look at about $83 per month. You have your expected rent up here, all of the different expenses that come with owning the property, including capital expenditures. It gives you $83 per month or $994 per year. So we're rated the cash flow neutral part. But keep in mind, your mortgage will be fixed. Now, other costs with the upkeep of the property can go up over time, but at least that mortgage rate is a fixed number. So as you can see here, here's the current cash flow, the expected cash flow with the rental appreciation. So the financials are looking good on this property. And if you're interested, they have a estimated accumulative appreciation over time or your investment value over time. So as you can see, just in that first year, your investment value would be $69,000 total. Nice. And then by the time you go to sell this property, the total investment value could be up to $800,000 in 30 years. These are just estimations, but it can help you make a better determination on whether this property is right for you. So personally, I'm not going to make a bid on this property, but we're going to walk through how you would set up an offer. So let's say you like this property and you didn't want to offer the $199,000, but you thought to yourself, you did your analysis and say, I think this property is worth $180,000, right? At this point, we're going to enter in the $180,000 and go to make an offer. Now at this point, as you can see up here, the list price $199,000, offer price $180,000. There's a marketplace fee, so this is non-refundable. This is what Roofstock charges in order to put this property on their platform. And at this point, you put your buyer information in. So you can do an individual ownership, co-buying it, or you can set it up in an LLC. It already has all of my information pre-saved. Let's say I wanted to make this offer and just put my title in. It asks you what you're going to do. Are you going to have an all cash offer or are you going to do some financing? And if you finance, as you can see here, if you select financing as your funding source, your offer will include an appraisal contingency. What that means is when they structure your offer on Roofstock, they will include that appraisal contingency so that the property must appraise at that value or higher. If you are selecting the financing option, typically Roofstock requires a pre-approval letter. You can do this on better.com in less than 5 minutes, and it's a relatively easy thing to get nowadays. So you would include your pre-approval letter, and in this case, I have some pre-saved ones, so I'm just going to upload this. Again, we're not going to go all the way through with the offer here, but you're going to want to upload your pre-approval letter. Click next. It's going to ask you a credit card to use. So I already have some pre-saved ones. So you would then enter in your card information, select next. I may have to block some of this out because it turned out there was some personal information on there. But at this point, you review everything on your offer and then you click this submit offer button. Again, we're not going to do it here, but submitting an offer is as easy as that. Now, within a 24-hour period, the buyer's agent, which is orchestrated by Roofstock, will contact you to set up a PSA, which stands for a pre-sale agreement. Now, this is your initial offer that you're sending to the client or the seller's agent, and the seller's agent will then take it to the seller to say, is this offer price acceptable, or are we going to counteroffer, or are we going to decline the offer outright? Now, in most cases, before it was such a hot seller's market, you would typically have a counteroffer, and then you go back and forth with the seller's agent for a few days until you settled on a negotiated price. So in my case, I'm going to show you a property that I purchased on Roofstock. Actually, in fact, 2 properties that I purchased on Roofstock. So at this point, I'll go to offers and transactions. And as you can see, these are all the different properties that I've already put offers on. There's no shame in submitting offers and either having them denied outright or having counteroffers, because at the end of the day, you want to follow the 110-1 rule. Look at 100 properties, offer on 10 of them, and maybe get lucky enough to have one accepted. As you can see, these are all different properties that I offered on but did not get accepted on. And I apologize if I have to black out the address on this video, but I'm going to select the house that I purchased. All right, so as you can see on this property here, these are the different steps that Roofstock orchestrates as you go through your buying process. So first there was that pre-sale agreement, then there was the seller's acceptance, which was completed, and then there was an escrow. So I had to submit my earnest money deposit, which is basically a promise that you're going to go through with the offer itself. You then confirm your property insurance. I had to upload that property insurance, select a property manager, which I did my own due diligence and found a local property management company in Alabama. You then review your inspection report, and most times you have an inspection contingency clause, which allows you to back out of the deal if in fact you find something so alarming on that inspection, or you go back to the negotiation table and renegotiate with the seller's agent. And it's easy as that. And Roofstock manages all these different aspects of the home buying process. Here's a property that I purchased through roofstock.com. I did not include the address for privacy reasons, but as you can see here, it had a list price of $130,000. The expected initial investment with that list price was $38,000. Ended up being a little more because I offered $135,000 to secure this deal. The expected rent was $1,250, which was spot on. This was a vacant property, but I was able to rent it out within the first 60 days after I purchased the property. Big sellers for me here was had a very good cap rate at 8.1%. And with that, it already had a strong cash flow with that expected rent to $1,250 and an annualized return of 23.7%. So for me, I felt very comfortable purchasing this property. When I looked at the financials, these two right here, the cap rate and the cash on cash return on investment, were absolute deal makers for me. An 8.1% cap rate is extremely competitive. That's the net operating income divided by the asset value, and anything over 6% is typically considered very good. For the cash on cash ROI, or return on investment, this is essentially with the total payment for the down payment, the closing costs, and all the fees to secure this loan, how much rate of return just on the free cash flow do you get on this property? So by taking all my positive cash flow divided by my down payment included with the closing costs and all the other costs to secure that loan, it's about a 7.7% per year. Now that cash flow is likely going to go up because as rent increases, my cash flow is also going to increase. So I typically use this number and compare it to what I would expect in the S&P 500 market or equity market. And a 7.7% guaranteed year over year is a really hard number to beat. So with the high cap ratio and a 7.7 cash on cash return on investment, for me, I felt comfortable making this deal. As you can see, here's all the different financials that I considered when I was going to purchase this property. Had an inspection report, and I used this to determine what the expected repairs were to be. And frankly, they actually overestimated the cost of all the repairs, and it was far cheaper after I purchased this property. So here's the second property that I purchased through Roofstock. The list price was $172,000, but I offered initially $165,000. The seller came back and said $168,000 as a counteroffer, and I accepted it on the spot. For me, this was a pretty easy sell because it was already being rented out for $1,350 per month. It already had a strong positive cash flow, and the cap rate was about 6.2%. Did a lot of research on this area, and Gardendale, Alabama is a very desirable place, a neighborhood in Birmingham to live. The annualized return, 21.9%. The appreciation at 7%, but I estimated 3% when I went to go purchase the property. And it already had a lease all the way through 2024. To me, this was a huge sell. It already had a tenant in there for 5 years with a positive cash flow, a strong cash on cash return on investment, and a high cap ratio. So for me, I almost thought, okay, this is too good to be true. Turns out the buyer or the seller's agent indicated that the seller lived in Orange County, California, and just wanted to divest himself of any property. I also bought this in November of 2020 during the COVID scare. So I think a lot of people were just uncertain about real estate investment during that time. So for me, all of these things, the active lease, the fact that it was built in 2015, very new property, low turnover costs. In fact, I didn't have to make any repairs after I purchased the property. All of this made me comfortable making an offer on this property. And as you can see, purchased it for $168,000, and I've had it for about 2 years now, and it's gone phenomenally well. So as you can see, becoming a remote real estate investor is not as complicated as people make it out to be. You can purchase properties or even sell properties through the Roofstock platform. And I hope this step-by-step process of how to analyze properties, how to set up filters on properties, and how to offer on properties arms you with all the information you need to go out there and become a remote real estate investor. By doing this, I'm hoping to arm you with all the financial tools and information necessary so that you can achieve financial independence. Because at the end of the day, when you have financial independence, you can take back your most valuable asset, being your time. Time is the ultimate currency, and I hope by achieving financial independence through things like real estate investing, you too can live a more fruitful life. If you found this video helpful, smash that like button. Comment below and give me feedback so that I can make videos better tailored to your needs. And hit that subscribe icon if you like videos like this and want to see more in the future. Thanks, and I'll see you around.